So we are currently stuck at the airport trying to figure out our flight situation because they won't allow us to check into our flight to Indonesia until we have a ticket that leaves Indonesia. And we haven't booked that. We've been trying for the last 5 or 6 weeks to figure out this ticket, and we now have 1 hour essentially to book that ticket in order to be able to get through security and make our next flight on time. So today's video requires a little bit of an explanation. See, we have traveled a lot at this point. We've been to 35 countries or so. So we have a pretty good understanding of what's required as far as travel documentation to pass through borders into new countries. However, today we were caught off guard. We were traveling from Vietnam to Indonesia, and in order to pass through immigration into Indonesia, you have to have a plane ticket showing that you plan to leave Indonesia after you stay. And we did not have that. So we were faced with about an hour and a half and very poor internet to book that flight out of the country, and things got a little sketchy. I basically have to reverse engineer the next 3 weeks of travel because we have to start figuring out how we're going to get home, what country are we flying through, and then we have to find a ticket to that country and connect all the dots and figure out the puzzle piece. And we've got about an hour left to do that, so it will be interesting to see what ends up working out. So we're trying to figure out Airbnbs and all of that. It's a very complicated puzzle. So far it's looking like Australia is our best bet for getting home the cheapest, but it's an expensive country to visit, so still working out the puzzle pieces in about a little less than an hour to figure it out. It's not going very well because the internet's quite terrible and Chase's website is down, so we're trying to transfer additional points over to United and I can't get their website to load. So Sydney, Australia is our best bet still. The flight that I want to book home from there is about 4,000 points more than we have. So I can't even book that yet because we're shy a few thousand points. But those points will be posted to our account within a week. I just have to wait for that statement to roll over and for our points to be refreshed. So I think we may try to go to Sydney and hope that ticket is still available. But it's an adventure. Alright, cutting it close. We may have abandoned the whole Australia idea. Might try to get back to Cincinnati through Jakarta in Indonesia. Alexa has a friend that keeps watching her play games. But I think we're getting close. We're also running out of time before we can check in because the gate will be closing. But it's going to work out. So I just realized that they don't actually scan anything, and we've been in this situation before where they need to see a ticket in order for us to be able to get it through security, but they just look at it. So I literally could, in 5 minutes, Photoshop an itinerary to anywhere and show it to them, and then we could take our time to actually book our flight later on. But hopefully we'll actually find something good here soon. So we are looking at 4 flights to get home. Have a 3.5 hours to Bangkok, 11 hours to Vienna. We've got a 10 hour to Washington, D.C., and then another hour and a half to Cincinnati. But it's the best that we can do with the points that we have currently. So I think we're going to book this one. We found the flight that we want to book, but I can't get the page to actually load and book. So we just need the internet to work for like 5 more minutes. So I can't tell how to do this yet, but I can't get the internet to work, so I photoshopped an itinerary, and I'm about to see if it works out. Hopefully this doesn't get some trouble. All right, so hold up. Let's pause for a minute and kind of explain what's going on. I'm not endorsing this action. This was a momentary lapse in judgment. This was not a good position to be in. If we missed this flight, it would have cost us thousands of dollars to rebook that same flight last minute. At that time, I hadn't fully processed the gravity of what was going on, and we were under a lot of stress. Traveling with kids is very stressful, and sometimes you make mistakes, and this was one of those times. So we were cutting it really close, down to like literally 15 minutes before the check-in counter closes, and the internet failed, and I couldn't actually book us a ticket. So I was forced to Photoshop travel documents, and thankfully it worked. But I got really super nervous because when I like showed her the document, she looked, she was like, oh, perfect, finally you got your tickets. And I was like, yeah, and I closed the laptop, and then she's like, I need to see it again. And I got nervous, and she looked at it very closely, and then she started writing down all the information. She wrote down the confirmation number, she wrote down the flight number, and it was a really poorly photoshopped document. It showed the flight from Bali to Bangkok was only 50 minutes, which is like 4 hours, and it had a bogus flight number and all of that, and so I was really nervous, and I started thinking about like getting hauled away in immigration, and
I didn't know any of this was going on.
Yeah, she didn't know any of this was going on.
So thanks for not telling me, because I would have been mad.
But we made it through immigration, and we have our tickets, and we are on our way to Bali.
We don't have flights home yet?
We don't have flights home yet. I couldn't book them. The internet wouldn't work, and I wasn't able to actually book anything. I got to like literally the final screen where you enter the information, and the internet crapped out.
Can we try to do that now so that
I should probably do that now.